Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside Polderbaan runway 36 left, where today departures take place. It is a Saturday afternoon. The sun is out. There are currently two A319s taxiing to the runway. The first one being this one from EasyJet. At the threshold to the right is another one from British Airways. Both are out to London. One to Luton, if I'm not mistaken, and the other to Heathrow. You can see the windmills in the background spinning. We have some wind blowing from the northeast, northeast. You can probably hear it as well. I believe at the moment runway 09 is also in use for takeoffs. It's been on and off today, with Polderbaan 36 left being the constant factor in runway usage today. Now at the threshold is another A319, British Airways, off to London Heathrow, BA flight 435, this plane 22 years old, was delivered in May 2000. Rick Meester, good afternoon, goedemiddag. Koenie Linux, Wendy, good afternoon to you all. Good to see you all. And in the background you saw a KLM Dreamliner. Gear up. Now let me quickly turn around the camera. First heavy of the day, of today's stream at least. Ready to go. KLM flight 691 to Toronto. Brand new airplane delivered in June last year. We are expecting some more traffic. I have to change some settings to my computer, sorry for that. As the KLM Boeing 737 took off in the meantime. So these planes are departing in northern direction. Wind is blowing from the north-northeast, mostly north. About 16 or so knots, which, if you look into the water, translates to waves like such. At the threshold we see an Embraer from KLM. There's also an A220 from Air Baltic making its way to the threshold. This is KLM flight 1175 going to Trondheim. It's a 9-year-old plane delivered in 2013. At the moment it's dry, and dry weather has been forecasted for the next couple of days. It is still a bit windy today. I think the wind is going to lie down in the next couple of days. Temperature at the moment is approximately 7 degrees centigrade or 44 degrees Fahrenheit. Here we have Air Baltic flight 858 going to Tallinn, and this is a 3-year-old plane delivered in November 2019. So what is coming up? There are a few planes in the distance. First up will be KLM flight 685 to Mexico City. That's a 7879 Dreamliner, which we can see on the left hand side of the screen. And over to the right, as YouTube fan already wrote, China Cargo, and that's a Queen 747-400 going to Shanghai, and that is a 16-year-old plane. Was delivered in April 2006. Good afternoon, Phil. Good to see you again. There are a few more planes coming up after the 747. Boeing 737-800 going to Stockholm from KLM, and there is an EasyJet A319 to Copenhagen also following. First, this Dreamliner. Hello, Miss Freddie Mercury and Daniel Yeager. Hi to you both, and to all others who joined us just now. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. It's a Saturday afternoon, a windy Saturday afternoon at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, where we are standing alongside runway 36 left, the Polderbaan as it's called. Wind is blowing from the north, these planes are departing into the north. Hey Jitse, thank you for keeping us updated and welcome. So I'm gonna pan around the camera to the right, to the threshold, as the Dreamliner is about to enter the runway. Beautiful machine glistening in the sunlight. The sun is finally coming out. We've had showers in the morning and overnight and yesterday too. But the rest of the weekend it's going to stay dry and sunny, albeit still a bit windy at the moment. She takes to the sky, you can see there is wind coming from the right. She's leaning a little bit to the right and floating to the left. But enough about that, because the Queen is also taxiing towards the runway threshold, slowly but surely. So, as I said, this is a 16-year-old bird. Was delivered in 2006, so still relatively young. before the 747 is going to depart. However, we are first going to see this 737 take off. Might even be followed by the Airbus behind it, but that I'm not sure about yet. Also has its lights on already. EasyJet is going to be next, already lined up. Time to focus back to the Queen. She's ready to go at any moment's notice. I can already see two 777s on the move. Also coming this way, still taxiing, but they will show themselves quickly. Off to Shanghai. Now looking back at the main platform area, we can see airplanes coming this way. And one of them is the Orange Pride 777-300. The Orange Pride 777 is going to Accra, and the non-Orange Pride will be flying to Dubai. The non-Orange Pride is also a 777-300ER, 8 years old. The Orange Pride Triple is 15 years old, was delivered in January 2008. Then behind it, a Boeing 737 going to Milan in Italy, KLM flight 1631. That's an 11-year-old plane delivered in May 2011. More planes are on their way. If I have a quick look at flight radar, CRJ, 2 A320 Neos. But let's quickly go back to the action. Let me turn around to the threshold, because the Orange Pride is already lined up in its full glory. Beautiful sight to behold. Meanwhile, at the threshold, we have the 737-800 to Milan, 11 years old, and 3 more planes coming, 2 Neos, 1 CRJ. The SAS CRJ creeping ahead, taking off in front of us. CRJ going to Copenhagen, and it's 5 years old, delivered in July 2017. Meanwhile, another Air Baltic A220. No, sorry, I'm mixing up my airplanes. This is a Turkish A321 Neo, 2 years old, going to Istanbul. Why did I come up with an A220? Back at the threshold. We have another A320 Neo. This one going to Munich. And it's 4 years old, delivered in January 2019. Hi Maya, from Joure. Welcome to the show. Boy Attitude NK also, hello to you and all other viewers. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is the Polderbaan, runway 36 left, where departures are taking place. Now back at the threshold there is a little Embraer waiting to line up, or waiting to go. It is KLM flight 1809 going to Dresden in Germany. It's a 5-year-old plane delivered in January 2018. Daniel, good afternoon, goedemiddag. There you can see the previous plane in the single shot. Visibility, of course, much better than it was the last couple of times we were here. So, what is cooking? At the moment, 2 airplanes are coming this way. The 737-900 is going to Stavanger. KLM flight 1203, a 21-year-old Boeing 737-900, and the Embraer on the far left is going to go to Bologna. KLM flight 1591. That's a 5-year-old plane delivered in July 2017. Hey André, goedemiddag, good afternoon. Let's turn around the camera towards the threshold where the Embraer to Bologna is also ready to go at any moment. have something underway in the distance. And by the looks of it, there's also an Emirates A380 Super underway. In the foreground we see an A320 from top first, going to Lisbon. That's a 20-year-old plane, delivered in May 2002. And there's a Boeing 737-800 from KLM behind it, going to Gothenburg. That's 15 years old, was delivered in January 2008. And it does seem that the Emirates A380 Super is going to taxi this way. Not yet sure, but by the looks of it, we are in luck. Wendy, thanks for joining us. See you again soon. Take care. Hey Ina, good afternoon. Hey Pat, checking in from Wharton, Texas. Good morning to you. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside Polderbaan, runway 36 left. And the Emirates A380 Super, what's it doing? It does seem to be on the move to us. So we seem to be lucky. So we're standing alongside runway 36 left, the most remote of the runways of Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. We're now looking at the main platform area. All the planes coming over here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, this is like a 15-minute taxi. Just right of the middle of the screen in the distance you see the control tower of the main platform area. This runway is so far away from the main platform area that they have a dedicated control tower for ATC, because they are unable to check everything closely from over there. It's quite windy at the moment. 16 or so knots, mostly from the northeast. These planes take off directly into the north, so only a little bit of crosswind from the right. As you can see, the sun is out. It's 7 degrees centigrade or approximately 44 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. As this KLM 737 takes off. Now you probably all are also hearing a constant whining in the background. I don't know what it is. I think it's the wind blowing alongside a building or something. A little bit distracting. But folks, if you guys are enjoying yourselves and you like what you see and you want to help me reach more people like you who also like content like this, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. It also allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, you receive a heads up, and if you're into it and if you have the time, you can join us in future streams. This top A320. Is this the current livery or is this an older livery? Now let me turn around the camera. Because there's a big bird approaching. It is the daily flight from Emirates back to Dubai. This is Emirates flight 148 and this A380 is 9 years old. It was delivered in May 2013. I think it's the only A380 that still flies on to Schiphol at the moment, although I'm not entirely sure. Now more is underway. After it is a Boeing 737 from Transavia going to Funchal, Madeira if I'm not mistaken. That's a 7-year-old plane, delivered in April 2015. There's also an A330-300 coming this way from KLM going to Riyadh. And that is an 8-year-old plane delivered in October 2014. JWB asking if I live in Amsterdam. I don't anymore. I used to until last year. But I do live nearby. Beautiful sight to behold. Now, as the Emirates A380 is lining up, I can see the departure, the takeoff lights on the Boeing 737 from Transavia go on. You can probably hear it. It's creeping before the Super. Makes sense, so that it doesn't have to wait for the wake turbulence to dissipate. Look at that livery shine in the sunlight, beautiful. Now you guys probably notice that I am experiencing a little bit of difficulties with my mount, with my tripod, when it comes to panning smoothly. I used to have a problem with tilting the vertical movement. Now that has smoothed out. Did some work on the tripod, but for some reason I cannot get the resistance of panning hard enough, so that goes jittery. One of the items to update first time I get a chance to it. There she goes. Floating in the air. A building block. Airborne. And there is deep movement to the right, to the east. Was an A350 from Delta taking off. Right. Let's see. This would be Royal Jordanian, flight 152 to Amman, an 11-year-old plane delivered in September 2011. Hey Frank, good afternoon, goedemiddag. And Daniel, you're absolutely right. I think once I am going to upgrade my tripod, I think I'm going to go for a Zachtler with a true fluid head. Now the odd thing is that I didn't have any issues with panning before, but now I do. No idea why. But let's just make the best of it. So you can see there's a little bit of crosswind from the right. Meanwhile, there's a queue at the threshold. We have this Embraer. There's another Embraer. And there is a 777 from Qatar. This Embraer 190 is going to go to Munich. It's a 13-year-old plane. Quickly back to the camera. Lovely to see the planes climb against the backdrop of clouds and blue sky. But let's quickly go back to the threshold. The next Embraer is already lined up. And you can see runway 24 is in use for landings. In the background you could see another plane land. The plane at the threshold is KLM flight 1961. It's going to go to Zurich in Switzerland. It's a 12-year-old plane. It was delivered in August 2010. Meanwhile, over to my right, I can hear another plane. It is another Embraer cutting the line before the triple. let's turn around the camera quickly because there is a 777 from Qatar lined up and ready to go. So this one is going to go to Doha. It's a 10-year-old plane. It was delivered in February 2013. Hello, AWACS Thunderbolt from India. Good day. Meanwhile, at the threshold, there is another Embraer from KLM. And it's going to go to Venice in Italy. It's KLM flight 16555. It's a 12-year-old plane delivered in March 2010. Right, let's turn around the camera to the main platform area, see what's coming up. There is at least an Airbus from EasyJet coming this way, going to Geneva in Switzerland, a 4-year-old plane delivered in June 2018, and behind it is a KLM flight to Geneva. 2 Airbuses to London, Luton and Frankfurt are also underway. Let me take a sip of my coffee before my thermos is getting cold. Very important to stay warm. particularly here out in the open with the wind constantly blowing in your face and in your neck. So 2 flights, consecutive airplanes. Oh no, yeah. The EasyJet A320 is going to go to Geneva, and the Boeing 737-800 from KLM as well. So they'll probably fly behind each other throughout the flight, unless they take different routes, of course. Let's turn around the camera. The EasyJet is going to take off as number 1. And here another flight to Geneva, very popular destination. This is a 22-year-old plane, Boeing 737-800, delivered in September 2000. We are once again starting to see a queue. EasyJet, Lufthansa, Air France. I cannot tell for sure. slew of Airbuses taking off. Next up, this one from Lufthansa, going to Frankfurt. 7 years old, delivered in March 2015. For those of you who just tuned in, welcome to the show, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside the Polderbaan or runway 36 left for takeoffs. On a sunny, although windy Saturday afternoon, these planes depart in northern direction. Wind is blowing from the northeast, so there's a little bit of crosswind from the right for these planes. Throughout the day, the departures have been divided between 36 left and 09. 09 being the secondary runway, on again, off again. This runway, the primary runway in use throughout the day for the departures. A321 took to the skies, and the plane I couldn't recall or couldn't recognize when it was facing me, I can see now, Corendon. And this plane is going to go to Rovaniemi. Where is that? In Finland. This plane, 11 years old, delivered in November 2011. Quickly back to the camera. So there is an A220 from Swiss taxiing towards the threshold, and coming over here, just turning on the lights, is a 737-800 from Egypt Air to Cairo, 5 years old. Let's go back to the threshold where the A220 from Swiss is waiting to go. Hey Thijs, goedemiddag, good afternoon. The Swiss we see is going to go to Zurich. It's a 4-year-old plane. It's spooling up, so quickly back to the camera. It has been back-to-back action, not giving me a lot of time to look to all details on flight radar. So, at the moment, coming up, a British Airways A320 to London Gatwick. That would be British Airways 2761. It's a 20-year-old plane, delivered in May 2002. Is it going to come this way? I think it is. Seems to be coming this way. Taking off in front of us instead of taxiing back to the threshold before taking off. Now folks, if you guys are enjoying yourselves and you want to help me reach more people like you and me who like content like this, if you haven't done so, consider subscribing to the channel. Here she goes. Can see a few birds in the foreground, but I haven't seen a lot of them otherwise. And while I did see the Schiphol scarecrows, the bird controllers patrol in the distance here and there as I was setting up, and while I've been streaming, I haven't seen any fireworks or heard of them thus far. Not sure if it has to do with the wind. If it's windy, maybe they seek a different location to flock around. Anyway, at the moment coming this way is an Embraer 190 from KLM going to Nantes in France. 12 years old, delivered in March 2010. Another one in the background. Meanwhile, I can hear the next Embraer, so let me quickly turn around the camera. This one, also an Embraer 190, going to Edinburgh, 14 years old. Meanwhile, at the threshold, another 737, one of the many from Transavia. This one going to Malaga in Spain. It's a 20-year-old plane delivered in April 2002. Hi there, Julian. Welcome to the stream. Welcome all others who have joined us in the meantime. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. Over here at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport on this Saturday. You can see the windmills, they're spinning. We have wind. It's not stormy, and it's also not quiet. Waiting for the next planes to arrive. Looking back to the main platform area, you can see something approach in the distance, or let me have a look. Planes are on the move. First up, A320 from Vueling. We might also see WestJet. I think the WestJet Dreamliner is also coming this way to Calgary. Hello Stephen, Ribble Valley, England. Welcome to the show. Julian asking KL 735. I cannot recall having seen it. Maybe it departed earlier, or is it still going to depart? I don't know for sure. What I can see on flight radar is that there are 4 planes making their way over here. First, an A320 from Vueling to Alicante. And that is a 9-year-old plane. WestJet Dreamliner to Calgary, Canada. 7879, 3 years old, delivered in January 2020. And then a KLM Embraer and a Ryanair 737. AWACS Thunderbolt telling us about an A350. Let's see what this A320 from Vueling is going to do. Is it going to come this way? It has its lights on already, so I think it might do a departure from over here instead of the threshold. Over to the right. It is a rolling start. Meanwhile, the WestJet Dreamliner is taxiing towards the threshold. Beautiful aircraft. However, we have a KLM Embraer that is going to take off first. Let's quickly turn around the camera to the threshold where the WestJet Dreamliner is waiting to go. Dylan asking if it is cold. It is a bit chilly, but it's particularly the wind that makes it somewhat chilly. We're out in the open over here. The wind is constantly bashing against you. So this WestJet Dreamliner 787-900 is going to go to Calgary, Canada. The air temperature currently approximately 7 degrees centigrade or just about 44 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the non-stop wind it does feel significantly colder. Next up, a 737 from Ryanair. And it's going to go to Dublin. It's a 737-800, 12 years old, and then after that another Vueling A320neo going to Rome, and that is a 4-year-old plane. You can see the sun is out. As it illuminates the livery. These planes depart in northern direction. It's currently 4 p.m. local time. So the sun is out in the west on the left hand side of the screen, which makes for good lighting on the liveries. Let's quickly turn around the camera back to the threshold where the A320neo from Vueling is lined up and ready to go in a moment's notice. Lovely colorful livery from Vueling. You gotta love those engines. I always think they sound like little 777 GE90s. If you close your eyes and just listen. Good sound. Currently at the threshold, 737 from KLM. It's going to go to Glasgow in Scotland. It's a 12-year-old plane and it's rolling as we speak. Back to the camera quickly. It is almost throughout the stream, non-stop, back-to-back takeoffs. You could see the 700s. They have a very short fuselage if you compare them with the more prevalent 800s and 900s. It's almost as something is off when you look at them, because you're used to the bigger brothers that you see so much more frequently, such as I think this Transavia is that also a 700? Let's quickly check. It is. It's going to go to Marrakesh in Morocco. So 2 baby 737s in a row. I'd almost forgotten that Transavia also operates a few of these smaller 737s, although most of their fleet consists of the bigger 800s and 900s. Or maybe just 800s, I'm not even sure if they have 900s in their fleet. Maybe it's mostly 800s and a few 700s. Now, here is yet another 737, this one from KLM. Let's have a look. It's going to go to Bergen in Norway, and it's 3 years old. Alright, let's have a look at the main platform area. A few more planes coming up. Let me quickly blow my nose because it always runs when it's cold and windy. That's better. Hey Marissa, good to see you. So, the Pegasus Air is an A320neo going to Istanbul. That's a 6-year-old plane. The Embraer from KLM is going to go to Aalborg, which is in Denmark, and it's a 4-year-old plane. It's going to take off with a rolling start right in front of us, as we've seen before from other planes. Pegasus A320neo lined up, ready to go. So looking back at the towards the main platform area, we see an Embraer, yet another Embraer coming this way. This is KLM flight 1447 going to Aberdeen, a 13-year-old plane delivered in January 2010. And there is the Etihad 777 cargo to Abu Dhabi rolling this way. Of course, we'll have to see. And it's going to take off from over here. Let's see. By the looks of it, runway 36 left is now the only runway in use, so that's good news. Means that all traffic is going to come this way. You can see there's still a bit of wind, although it is blowing mostly from the north, which means that there isn't a lot of crosswind for these airplanes. And here, an all-white 777 by the looks of it, taxiing this way. The Etihad flight to Abu Dhabi. Now we've seen it before, that the narrow bodies creep ahead of the wide bodies. I'm thinking the City Hopper, at least the first one, is going to do the same, maybe the second one not, but the first one has its lights on already. That would be an E2 Embraer E195 KLM flight 937 to Dublin, a 1-year-old plane. You can see through these engines, they are very high bypass. Thinking maybe the second Embraer is also going to depart before the triple. Very quiet planes. Even though they spool up right next to you, really silent. And the next one is already lined up. 190 going to Lyon, France. 5 years old, delivered in February 2018. Meanwhile, the triple is ready to go. Folks, if you're liking the stream and you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me to reach more people like you and me who like content like this. To see that at least, while it's an all-white airplane, that at least it was a bit clean and not too dirty what I could see in it passing by. Always a shame if you have a bright livery but it's a dirty airplane. Meanwhile, at the threshold, another Embraer from KLM waiting to go, followed by A737 also from KLM. Very quick takeoff roll. Meanwhile, the 737 from KLM is already lined up. It is a 737-800 going to Manchester. It's a 12-year-old plane and was delivered in November 2010. Julian, goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen a lot of them. Maybe this means that we will also start seeing the Schiphol scarecrows come in. Haven't seen them either, except for in the distance. All right. Meanwhile, we are waiting for the next traffic. There's this Embraer. There's another Embraer. No shortage of Embraers today. So the first Embraer is going to go to Newcastle. It's an Embraer 175, 5 years old. Making its way over here. Probably going to do a rolling start, as most of the planes did before it. Or is it waiting? No, it isn't. It was just slowing down. No rolling start. There it goes. Meanwhile, the next Embraer is lined up, so let's pan back. This is an Embraer 190 going to Norwich, 9 years old, delivered in November 2013. Departure, quick roll, quick rotation. Norwich, of course, as the crows fly, not too distant from Amsterdam, just have to cross the North Sea and you're almost there already. Meanwhile, I can see a Schiphol scarecrow in the distance. There it is, doing a patrol round. K1, the Kivits, bird controllers. And there's the fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you're into fireworks and you want to see more fireworks in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you can get a heads up whenever I go live to see this fireworks display, and of course all the birds and metal birds that are at Schiphol Airport. And it's behind the boxes. If anybody knows what these are for, please let us know in the chat. I'm curious. I've seen them so many times before, but I never knew what they are for. So if anybody knows, I'm curious, let us know. Marissa informing us that 09 is now also back in use again for departures. It has been on and off throughout the day. We'll have to wait and see what comes next. I can see an Embraer on flight radar coming this way. We'll have to wait a few more moments. The Embraer making its way over here in the distance is going to go to Birmingham. KLM flight 1431. It's a 14-year-old plane. And there's also an Embraer from KLM coming that is going to go to Bristol. That's a 6-year-old plane. By the looks of it, it's going to go to the threshold. And there's the second Embraer, also coming this way. Hello Janice, good afternoon from Athens, Greece. Welcome to AMS Live. Marissa informing us that those boxes, those red and white boxes, apparently are holding the ILS equipment. Well, I do know that the antennas you see over there are also from the ILS at the end of the runway. Apparently the computers are in the boxes. So the Embraer now has been given permission to line up. And it's going to go right away. Quick rotation, steep takeoff. And the second Embraer is already lined up. Will also depart in a few moments. Joaquim, welcome from Brazil, by the looks of it. Steep takeoff. Let's look back towards the main platform area. I can see some planes in the distance. There's an Embraer coming. Two Embraers, three Embraers, A320, and also 777 from United? Is it United? No, it's Emirates Sky Cargo. So the Embraer 190 coming first. It's going to go to Billund. It's a 13-year-old plane. Meanwhile, another Embraer. This Embraer is going to Southampton. It's a 6-year-old plane. Going back to the threshold where yet another Embraer is lined up, ready to go. This Embraer 190 is going to go to Bremen in Germany. It's a 13-year-old plane delivered in September 2009. And Marissa is informing us that the Emirates Sky Cargo is going to 09, sadly. That is a disappointment. I can see it, yeah. Hopefully the A300 will come this way. From DHL. So we have an Airbus from Aer Lingus making its way to the threshold. It's being followed by a 737, and in the background we see the DHL A300. Is it going to come this way? It's going to go to London Heathrow, so it would be more logical for it to come this way than to depart from 09, but it's Schiphol, you never know. But by the looks of it, it's already past the threshold of 09, so I think it's going to come this way. The Aer Lingus is going to go to Dublin, and it is an 18-year-old plane, delivered in 2004. Beautiful how the sun illuminates the livery. Clover on the tail. I think it's called a clover in English. But if it isn't, please correct me. I don't pretend to know everything, especially not when it comes to birds and plants. So this KLM 737-700 going to Copenhagen, 13 years old, delivered in January 2010. Baby of the bunch, the 700. I think it's the third or the fourth one that we've seen. Now I can see a yellow plane coming this way, so we will be seeing the A300 by the looks of it. In the meantime, this is an EasyJet A319 going to London Gatwick, 14 years old. The A300 to London Heathrow is coming this way. Probably the oldest plane that we're going to see during this stream. We have seen a Queen, but that was still a relatively young one. That was from 2006 if I recall correctly. Gear up, please. And there it is. Right. Let's take the opportunity to look at this DHL A300 on profile as it makes its way to the threshold. Let me quickly have a look at flight radar. It is an A300 that is 25 years old. It was delivered in January 1998. So that is the oldest one we've seen so far. Oldest plane. And I agree, Marissa. Probably a short takeoff. Unless, of course, it's fully loaded with concrete or something like that. Lovely machine, great to see that they are still flying. Same with tri-jets such as the MD-11. It's fortunate that these older planes are still viable for cargo operations, so that at least you see them sometimes. Now, as it's going to go to London Heathrow, it's going to make a left-hand turn to go to the west. Probably over the North Sea, it's going to go to the southwest. It's making the left-hand turn right now, which means it's approximately over the North Sea Canal. Going towards Velsen, where the mills of Tata Steel are, nearby the coast. And once it's over the North Sea, it's going to make a further left-hand turn probably and head towards the south of England. You can see the sun still illuminates the airplane from the left. The sun is still to the left of the airplane, so we get to see it shine. Throughout the whole period we are tracking it. And there she goes. Okay. Let's look back towards the main platform area. There is movement in the distance. Question is it traffic headed out this way, or is it going to go to the different runway? Marissa informing us that there's a KLM A330 coming this way. Also see an Embraer E190 going to Hamburg, coming first. That's a 7-year-old plane. Meanwhile, I am going to change my hand warmer to my other glove. As they are getting quite cold with the non-stop wind and the low sunlight. So as I was saying, the Embraer that we see over here, 7 years old, going to go to Hamburg in Germany. It already has its lights on, so it's going to come this way. And in the background, we see the A330 also approaching. That's a very steep climb. It's flattening. The initial part of the climb was very steep. Let's turn around the camera, have a look at the A330 that is also coming this way. So this is an A330-200. It's going to go to Boston. It's a 17-year-old plane. It was delivered in August 2005. KLM flight 617. It is being followed by another Embraer 190 from KLM going to Düsseldorf, Germany. KLM flight 1861 that is, and that is an 11-year-old plane. And Neil, you're absolutely right. It takes a long time taxiing towards this runway. The latest addition to the runways of Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, the Polderbaan, runway 36 left as it is used today. The latest addition, delivered in 2003, or at least that's when it was finalized and was taken into use. It is approximately, well, depending on which side of the platform your gate is. If you have to go around the main platform area first, then it's a 15-minute taxi at least. If your gate is close by, relatively speaking, it's still well over 10 minutes typically. Which is also why the Polderbaan has its own dedicated ATC control tower, because as you can see here in the distance, in the middle of the screen, is where the ATC control tower of the main area is. It's so far away, it's impossible to monitor all the traffic from such a big distance. Meanwhile, with the sunlight and the sun being low above the horizon, there's a beautiful light that shines on the liveries from the left. As the A330 takes to the sky, off to Boston. So this plane too is going to make a left-hand turn eventually once it's over the North Sea Canal. And then it's off to the United Kingdom, to the North Atlantic tracks, to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile, what you're hearing is fireworks in the distance from the Schiphol Scarecrows, the bird controllers. K1 setting off some more fireworks. You can see some birds flying away. Another display of fireworks. In the meantime, an Embraer 190 from KLM is on the threshold, taking off to Düsseldorf, Germany. And going back to the threshold, there is another Boeing from Transavia, one of their many 737s, 800. This one is going to Athens, Greece. It's a 4-year-old plane delivered in January 2019. And there she goes. Meanwhile, another 737 is coming this way. This one from KLM. Lights on. It's going to take off from over here. It's going to go to Madrid. And it is 11 years old. The next plane is making its way over here. It is an Embraer in the SkyTeam livery by the looks of it. And it is an Embraer 190 from KLM going to Warsaw in Poland. A 10-year-old plane delivered in April 2012. And there is a Royal Air Maroc flight to Casablanca also coming this way. But not before this Embraer. Beautiful the way the sun shines on the livery. Also a very steep climb initially. And then slowing down the ascent. Let's turn around the camera, go back to the main platform area. Here is a Boeing 737 from Royal Air Maroc. It's an 800. It's going to go to Casablanca. 10 years old, delivered in February 2013. Now I can also see that there are a few big planes, some heavies on the move. To the United States. So very likely that these will come this way. Air Maroc on its way to Casablanca. That is well over 4 hours of flight, I think. I think the Canary Islands are 4 hours from over here, so meanwhile I can see movement in the distance. It would be the 787-10 to New York JFK probably, which is going to depart from over here, KLM flight 643, also in the KLM 100 years livery. The 787-10 Dreamliner, the biggest of the bunch, 3 years old, this plane delivered in June 2019. Most likely coming next after the Dreamliner is going to be KLM flight 1607 to Rome, which is a 737-800. 23 years old, delivered in April 1999. But first, this bird. Folks, if you're enjoying this stream and you want to help me reach more people like you and me who also like content like this, if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. That way you can also turn on notifications, get a heads up whenever I go live. Meanwhile, the sun is getting lower and lower above the horizon. I'm already standing in the shade. The airplanes and the airfield are still illuminated. Shadows are getting longer and longer. But it is very photogenic for these airplanes that are still being illuminated by the sun that is still out. On its way to New York JFK. Always an impressive sight to behold. meantime, the next plane has lined up at the threshold of runway 36 left. It is yet another 737 from KLM. And this one is going to go to Rome. It is a 23-year-old plane. This one is the one from 1999. It is a millennial, ladies and gentlemen. Though you wouldn't say so if you look from a distance. Now let's look at the traffic that's coming this way. There's a few planes coming this way. We have A320neo from British Airways going to London Heathrow. That's a brand new plane, was delivered last October. The Transavia we see is going to go to Lisbon, a 737-800, 6 years old. And further in the distance we see a Dreamliner from KLM, 7879. It's going to go to Atlanta, Georgia probably. It is 4 years old. And there's also a 737-800 from KLM coming after it, which is going to go to Barcelona, and that is a 22-year-old plane delivered in June 2000. Now, first up, the Neo. And it is almost ready to line up. The lights are already on. So it's probably not going to waste any time. The Transavia 737 is already at the threshold. The Dreamliner and the other 737 from KLM are queuing up behind it. I'll quickly turn around the camera because the Dreamliner is already ready to go. It'll have to wait, of course, but only a few moments. A bird attack. Right, so at the threshold at the moment, another 737 from KLM. This one to Barcelona. And this is the 22-year-old plane. Meanwhile, at the threshold, a Transavia 737 ready to line up. That is going to go to Ibiza. We're going to Ibiza. Have to remember, have to think of that song from back in the 90s or so. It's a 4-year-old plane and it's ready to go. Back to the camera. I think my tripod is getting colder and it affects the quality of my panning, my left-right movement. It's getting more irregular than it was earlier. Apologies for that. For some reason I did solve the tilting issue where The up-down movements were shaky, at least initially, but now it seems my left-right movements are no longer as smooth as they were some time ago. Let's have a look, see what's coming next. Here's this 737-800 from KLM going to Geneva. You can see it has its lights on already, so it's going to come this way, take off directly in front of us instead of going to the threshold. Hello Joe Martin, hello Cathay Potter, welcome to the stream. My name is Boy, this is AMS Live, and this is a KLM Boeing 737 taking off in front of us. Well folks, as the sun has gone behind the buildings here and there's no more traffic coming up right away, I think I am going to close the stream for today. It's been a blast. Thank you all for joining me today. If you liked what you saw, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Not only does it allow you to turn on notifications and get heads up whenever I go live again, it also helps me to reach more people like you and me who also like content like this. I am looking to come back sometime tomorrow, maybe even also on Monday. It's going to be good weather, but for today I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Even though there is a 777 coming, there's always a next plane. You have to take your losses at some point. I am going to say good weekend to you all for those of you who won't be joining me later, and hope to see you again all soon. Bye for now.